Forest. At the old ball game. Hey!
Hi, welcome back to the Vintage Baseball Corner. I'm Chris. Today we're going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to participate with 5 other YouTube channels in a multi-channel pack war. We're going to open up a 1984 Topps rack pack and compete with the other channels for who can pull the most Hall of Fame cards. Phil over at Ilovebaseballcards is our sponsor, and he's the one that provided the packs for us. If you haven't been to his channel, I highly recommend it. Phil's a great guy, great channel, opens up packs, grades some cards, just a lot of good content. So he provided the packs. The way this works is we're going to count every Hall of Famer that's on a card as 1 point. If there's a 3-player Hall of Fame player leader card, then that counts as 3. A single card is just for 1. So most Hall of Famers wins. There's an awesome prize at the end that none of us know exactly what it is yet. I'm assuming it's going to be like a 56 Mickey Mantle or something that's commensurate with the price of 5 or 6 84 Topps rack packs. That would be about right. Anyway, we'll worry about the prize later. I do plan on winning it, by the way. I want to introduce you to the other channels. But actually, let me cover real quickly. The tiebreaker is the most Steve Garvey, Pete Rose, and Dale Murphy cards. So if we tie with another channel, those cards would serve as our tiebreaker. I want to cover the other channels real quickly. We got I Love Baseball Cards. Of course, we mentioned that already. The Wax Pack Dad, the Football Guy USA, David Ganos, and Maiden's World of Wax. Those are our channels. And then, of course, me and us here at the Vintage Baseball Corner. So we're going to have some fun. Obviously, there's the Don Mattingly and Darryl Strawberry rookie cards. So we'd love to pull those. And that would almost make you an automatic winner. Not in the contest, just a winner. So we're going to go back and relive our childhood a little bit. In 1984, I was right in the middle of my high school years. I was a big-time Cubs fan at that point. Watching the Cubs on WGN every day after school when I could, and all day during every day during the summertime. Such a fan that when the Cubs made the playoffs in 1984, which was the first time in a long, long time, myself and a couple other guys' parents wrote us notes so that we could leave school early to go home to watch the Cubs-Padres' first 2 playoff games that were day games in Wrigley. Great. One guy lived close to the school, so we just walked to his house, watched the games, the first 2 games in his basement, and the Cubs won, and that was awesome. Until they went to San Diego and Steve Garvey and company decided to turn the tide a little bit. But that leaves a bitter taste on my mouth, so we'll leave that one alone and move on. I want a Mattingly card personally, mainly just because I'm greedy. I hope that doesn't make me bad, but I grew up in Evans. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in Evansville, Indiana, which is where Mattingly's from. And as a young kid, I watched Mattingly play while he was a junior and a senior in high school. Ultimately, I went on to go to the same high school and play for the same coach. So Dad took us to games and every chance that we had. He played for Memorial High School in Indiana. They went 59 straight games without a loss. They were 30-0 and won the state championship his junior year, and were 29-0 heading into the state championship game his senior year, and they lost in extra innings. There's some also good tidbits about that game and other facts about Mattingly from Evansville that I'm going to share in a separate video, so I hope you'll join me for that when I can get that put together. It'll be down the line a little bit, but I'm looking forward to doing that. So, obviously I hope that we can pull Mattingly and do this. Either way, we're going to have some fun. If I see some cards of players that I know about or that I liked, I may stop and wax poetic a little bit about them. No pun intended. But so I will share some stories and talk about the players a little bit too. I have some background for us here that I set up. You'll see here in just a sec when we turn the camera around. I've got 3 1984 Topps that I've had graded. I have 3 Don Mattingly rookie cards, and I also have an 84 Topps Wax Pack Wrapper as our background today. So let's just get at it. No more wasting time. Let's open some packs and have some fun. All right, here is our background. As previously discussed, we've got the 3 Topps cards. All Hall of Fame right-handed pitchers, Tom Seaver, Jim Palmer, Nolan Ryan. 3 Mattingly rookie cards. Our rack pack that we're going to open, and we're going to get to that right now. So let's see what we got. The first thing that we can do is I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more here and zoom in on this rack pack for us. On the front, we have Andre Dawson and Bill Scherrer and Rudy May. So we do have one Hall of Famer right off the bat in Andre Dawson. So let's take a look here. I'm going to now zoom back out just a little bit more so we can get enough room to show you the cards. And let's get to opening. All right. Again, Andre Dawson, Bill Scherrer with the Reds, and Rudy May. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put some more of these up here because I know we're just going to get some good cards. We're going to start off right here with this end. We'll very carefully slide these out. Those right there. I got some nice, good, sharp scissors here, so I want to be careful, but at the same time, they'll cut right through the plastic cleanly. All right, last one, and we'll actually see if that's going to come out. Nope, not yet. We're going to have to maybe try from this end. I did notice that a couple of these cards actually have a kind of a rough edge to them. We'll look at those as we go. Andre just doesn't want to come out of there, does he? Let's just set that right there. And we're just going to kind of force Mr. Dawson's hand here by getting in here and going like that. So, all right, now we're good. Let's get these here. And we're going to start with the cell that had Andre Dawson. All right, let me get the plastic out of the way. The Hawk, Andre Dawson, that is one Hall of Famer, so we will put him up. Here's one of the ones that I noted that I could tell from the pack that had, and there's a Dale Murphy that had a little problem with the edge. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it got a little lip problem right there. Unfortunately, that happens, but we do have a Braves leaders card with Dale Murphy. So unfortunately, not a Hall of Famer. I think he should be, but we'll leave that for a later date and a later debate. But that will give us one on the tiebreaker scale. So next up with the Rangers is Bob Jones. And now we have Davey Lopes, Bert Campaneris, and Omar Marino. No Hall of Famers with the active career stolen base leaders. Next up, Enos Cabell, Tigers. Now we've got let's turn this here so I'm not exposing the next card. 2 Hall of Famers, source. And that is Ricky Henderson and Tim Raines, the 83 stolen base leaders. So we will put him up here. And now we have 3 more. Nice. Career strikeout leaders. Some leaders back-to-back. Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, Tom Seaver. Some of the best ever. So we're going to go here again. Boom. Gene Tennis with the Pirates. Tennis was a key part of the Oakland A's championships from 72 through 74. 3. Now we active career save leaders. Let's see if we've got anything here. We've got Rich Gossage, Raleigh Fingers, and I'm casting a little bit of a shadow there. And Dan Quisberry. So we've got 2 Hall of Famers on this one. So we're kind of on a roll here. Okay, so we'll put Fingers and Gossage there. Next up, Kurt Bavacqua, infielder for the Padres. Bavacqua is famous for 2 things. One, the bubblegum blowing baseball card from, I believe, I don't remember, was it one of the 70 sets with him blowing a huge thing of bubblegum. The other is a rant about Kurt Bavacqua from Tommy Lasorda. If you ever get a chance, Google that, YouTube it. But it is not for the faint of heart, as the language is quite salty. But Tommy Lasorda just kind of went off on Kurt Bavacqua. Yet, if you can handle the language, it is certainly funny. All right, moving on. More leaders, batting leaders for the Indians. Mike Hargrove, Larry Sorensen. Hargrove definitely was a great player, not a Hall of Famer. Also a future big league manager. And more leaders themselves. This is a leaders pack. Simmons, Jackson, and Nettles. So 2 out of the 3 are Hall of Famers. Active career RBI leaders. Reggie with 1,435 RBI at that point, 1,195 for Simmons, and 1,080 6 for Greg Nettles. So we got 2 more Hall of Famers there. I don't even have a tally yet, but that's a good solid start. Johnny Grubb is next. Tigers outfielder. We got batting and pitching leaders for the New York Mets, Tom Seaver and Mookie Wilson. Again, once again, a Hall of Famer. So I'm going to put him here. Tom Seaver, right below the Tom Seaver card for the 84 Mets. Next up is Ricky Nelson, outfielder for the Mariners. Ted Simmons and batting and pitching leaders, Brewers. Holy cow, I never expected this. That would be another Hall of Famer here with Ted Simmons, and Moose Haas was the pitching leader for the Brewers in 83. Next up again, future big league manager Art Howe with the Houston Astros. Howe's a longtime manager in the big leagues, but not a Hall of Famer. Pitcher Jack O'Connor for the Twins. And Darryl Thomas, infielder, outfielder for the Dodgers. Good utility guy there. So let's go with Bill Scherrer stack next. Again, here's the other one that I'd mentioned that looks had a problem with the cut from the factory, and that lip is pretty ugly there, but it appears to be just that card. So that's a good thing. Bill Scherrer. We'll go down here. Next up, Greg Walker with the White Sox. I don't hide these very well. Rich Gedman, catcher for the Red Sox. Terry Crowley, first baseman, Montreal Expos. Crowley played for a good long time. Was part of World Series teams with the Baltimore Orioles and the Reds with the Big Red Machine. So he was primarily a utility outfielder and later in his career here as an infielder. Next up, we got a Cubs Jody Davis. I'm not going to sing like Harry Carey used to do, but Jody Davis was king of Wrigley Field, as Harry used to say.
There's a long drive, deep center field. Way back, it might be. It is a home run, a grand slam, a grand slam. Holy cow! Against the wind. Listen to the crowd.
One of my favorite catchers growing up, probably next to Johnny Bench, was my favorite. Chet Lemon, outfielder, really good player for the Tigers. Here, Juan Bonilla, infielder for the Padres. And here's a Yankees manager, Billy Martin. Not a Hall of Famer, but Billy Martin certainly had a long managerial career, many teams. Actually managed for the Yankees 4 or 5 different times. And Steinbrenner would fire him, then hire somebody else, they'd have problems, and he'd bring Billy back and then fire him again. Martin also won several World Series as a player with the Yankees in the 50s, 60s. All right, next up, Wayne Krenchicki, infielder for the Tigers. Dave Beard, pitcher for the A's. Nick Esaski, infielder, third baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. Ben Ogilvie. Ben had a home run title, I believe, in 82, possibly. I may be off on the year, but he did lead the league in home runs for the Brew Crew and was a good, solid outfielder in his day. Next, we got Yankees and Omar Marino. Some speed at the top of the lineup for the Yankees there. Also played for the Pirates for a good bit. Next up, Braves and Glenn Hubbard. Second baseman, just a good, solid, steady player for the Braves. Back to the Tigers and Jack Morris. There's a Hall of Famer for us. Jack in 84 was the ace of the staff for the Tigers, who won the World Series that year. He also came up in the late 70s through the minors and played in Evansville in AAA Bossy Field for the Evansville Triplets. And I do remember seeing him pitch when I was a young kid. The Tigers AAA team was in Evansville until 83 or 84, and then they moved, I believe, to Nashville, if I'm correct on that. But got to see a lot of the great Tiger players: Lance Parrish, Jack Morris, Mark the Bird Fidrich, all of those guys when I was a youngster. So, but Jack is a Hall of Famer, so we're going to slide him here. We got Ron Davis for the Twins, not a Hall of Famer, but an excellent relief pitcher, a closer for a few years. Joe Niekro, brother of Hall of Famer Phil Niekro. Joe didn't quite make it to the Hall. One interesting thing was there was a year in the early 70s, I believe, that Joe and Phil both won 21 games and they both led the league in wins, playing for different teams. But you had brothers at the top of the wins list. And lastly for this one, Gary Templeton. For the Padres, Templeton was traded from the Cardinals to the Padres for Ozzie Smith. Templeton was a really, really nice player. Obviously not to Ozzie's level, but very, very talented. Speedy, had some pop. Really good, strong shortstop. So let's just do a quick recap here before we get to the last. We got 2 Hall of Famers here. We got 2 more, so that's 4. 3 is 7. 2 more is 9. 2 more is 11. And then we have 1 and 2 here. So now we're up to 13 with 1 cell to go. Let's do Rudy May, longtime pitcher and pitcher for the Yankees this time. See, Brewers, Riley Fingers. And by the way, David Ganos and his channel has already done this. And he had Bill Scherrer and Rudy May in his group of cards. So I was wondering if we were going to have some of the similar collation. And I do know that he had a Riley Fingers as well. So we're going to stick Riley and the Brewers over here. Next up, Jim Barr with the Giants. Pitcher. Pirates, Gianni Ray. I think we might have the same stack as David Ganos had, because I do remember Johnny Ray being his as well. And as well as Luis Aponte. So, Andre the Hawk Dawson. All right, that's a beautiful card. Again, second one of Andre. We've got another Hall of Famer. He was a favorite of mine, especially when he joined the Cubs in 1987. Ended up having 49 homers for the Cubs. And for whatever reason, there was some free agency issues at that time, and Andre gave the Cubs a blank contract and said, fill in the amount, I'm here. And I believe they paid him just $500,000 for that season. I could be off on that number, but that's pretty close. So now we're going to see how the Topps collation works at this point. I happen to remember when David Ganos opened his that the next card was a guy named Jim Anderson. And the reason that Jim Anderson is so memorable is if you look at his position, it's listed as catcher, shortstop. I mean, you've seen some converted catchers play, different positions. Obviously, Dale Murphy, obviously Craig Biggio. But you don't see too many cards that have those 2 positions listed. And you don't see too many catcher shortstops roaming around in Major League dugouts. So I thought that was kind of cool. And that one was in David Ganos's as well. So let's see what else we have here. That's about where my memory stops with his Reggie Jackson. Beautiful. I'll take it. Reggie with the Angels. That big swing. Look at the follow through and how spread apart his feet are. All power. He was taking a shot at it. And a lot of times he missed. A lot of times he hit. More than 500 home runs. Next up, pitcher Sammy Stewart for the Orioles. Wade Boggs. Look at this. Hall of Famers galore. I like it. Great third baseman. This is a second-year card of Wade Boggs. This one's centered pretty darn nicely, too. Maybe not quite a perfect top to bottom, but close. We'll stick Wade Boggs there while we look at Marvell Wynn, outfielder for the Pirates. Speedy outfielder. Good, solid player. I don't know if he started most of his career. I know he did play some in a reserve role, but he was a nice center fielder, a nice part of the lineup for the Pirates. With Jim Rice. Got to know, we're on a roll here. Look at that. Jim Rice. We're going to stick him. Now we'll just go right over the top of there. So, got a few more cards left. Let's see if there's any other late surprises. Pete Ladd, pitcher for the Brewers. Ron Kittle, not a Hall of Famer. Kittle was a big-time prospect, came out as a rookie. I think he hit 30 home runs in his rookie season, and big things were expected. Lots of power. Just never had the longevity to really and truly find that star power. Next, we're with the Twins. We got Bobby Mitchell, outfielder, and Blue Jays, Buck Martinez. Buck later, I believe, was a manager and then became a longtime announcer for ESPN. Was actually a very good quality baseball announcer for the network, as they call him. Lee Lacy for the Pirates. And last but not least, Jason Thompson. And just a quick side note on Jason Thompson. He came up through the Tigers farm system and came to Evansville in AAA and lasted for all of 8 games. He hit 4 or 5 home runs in in 8 games, blew through town. I don't remember if I saw him play or if I just remember reading about him, because I did follow the team on a daily basis. But he went from AA to AAA, and a week later he was in the big leagues. And Jason Thompson actually had a nice little career. I'll show the back here, just so you can kind of remember the backs on the 84 Topps cards. But Thompson had a good career, didn't last as long, and again, never really hit stardom, but was a nice solid player with some pop. And I just dropped that. So that's the last one there. So that is all the cards for this rack. Let's tally them up real quickly. Unfortunately, we are not going to have a Mattingly or a Strawberry, but I do believe we had enough here to take the lead over Mr. Ganos, who I believe had 15 Hall of Famers in his rack. We've got, again, let's go back. Jim Rice, Raleigh Fingers. That's 2. Ted Simmons on the leaders card. That's the 3rd. Another leaders card with Tom Seaver. So that's 4. Wade Boggs. 5. Active RBI leaders. So we've got 2 there with Simmons and Jackson. So that makes 7. I'm going to put that there. And then a solo card of Reggie gives us 8. The active career strikeouts leader gives us 3 more. That's 11. With Ryan, Seaver, and Carlton. It's funny to note there that Carlton was actually the active strikeout leader at the time, with about 32 more, it looks like, than Nolan Ryan. Obviously, that did not last. Next up, Jack Morris. And I just lost my count. I think that's 12, but I'll go back one more time. Andre Dawson. Andre Dawson again. We got 2 more with Henderson. And 2 more with Gossage and Quisenberry. So now, I kind of messed that up here. So let's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 Hall of Famers in this rack. So that is going to be the number to beat for the other guys. I'm going to, again, share with you real quickly their channel names. Again, I Love Baseball Cards with Phil is our sponsor of this event. He's the one that provided the packs. The Wax Pack Dad, the Football Guy USA, David Ganos, Maiden's World of Wax, and me here with the Vintage Baseball Corner. Please check out videos from all of these channels. See if you can find some content that interests you. All do a great job at putting out different content, and hopefully you will find some stuff that you like on all of them. But please check those guys out, support them. And again, please come back and see me. I've got some PSA reveals coming up. I'm going to do a series on my 1975 collection. I'll dig deep into the 75 set and then show off cards in some short videos with my collection as well, which is at this point growing on over 400 graded cards. So hopefully you'll stick around and come back for that. I've enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing the other videos, and look forward to seeing you again down the road and spending time with you later. Thank you very much.